Born of great volcanoes, drifting in a sea of endless blue, this land of wind and soaring clouds. This is the Parker Ranch of Hawaii. "55,000 of the world's finest crossbred cattle, a land area more than 2 times the size of the island of Lanai, the largest privately owned ranch in America. In a time long ago, when ancient gods still watched over the land, the people of these enchanted islands lived in harmony with the earth and were blessed with its abundance. But in 1794, the winds of change brought to these shores a new and powerful threat. Intended as a gesture of goodwill, Captain George Vancouver put 8 longhorn cattle ashore on the island of Hawaii. In just a few years, 8 grew to become many hundreds. A well-intentioned gift was now a scourge on the land. The ever-hungry herds destroyed crops and attacked anyone who would stand in their way. And so it fell to a few able and brave men to stop the devastation. It was John Palmer Parker, a seaman from New England, who quickly became the most successful longhorn hunter. But the homegrown methods used by Parker and the early Hawaiian cattlemen were inefficient and in need of improvements that only real ranching experience could bring. In 1835, King Kamehameha III brought 3 Mexican vaqueros to Hawaii. The Espanol cowboys, called Paniolo by the Hawaiians, brought with them the tried and proven cowboy ways of the mainland Southwest. They showed the Hawaiians how to braid the 4-strand leather lariat and how to use it to rope wild steers. They tanned hides with the bark of the koa and ohia trees. The Mexican cowboys introduced to Hawaii the bullhide leather saddle with hooded stirrups, hand-wrought iron spurs, and the 6-stringed Spanish guitar. Parker Paniolo's Gordon Kalaniopio, Kimo Ho'opai, and Craig Pasquale play this traditional Paniolo song, Hawaii Rough Riders. It celebrates the exploits of 3 previous Parker Paniolos, Ikoa Purdy, Archie Ka'awa, and Jack Lowe. In 1908, these legendary cowboys became a mainland sensation when on their first attempt in mainland competition, they won top honors at the World Championship Rodeo in Cheyenne, Wyoming. In 1835, Parker and his beloved wife Kipikane moved inland to the rugged wilderness of the Waimea Plateau. In view of his royal marriage to the granddaughter of Kamehameha the Great, and because of his success as a cattleman, Parker was granted 2 acres of land. Here he built Mana. Located today next to Pu'u'opelu, Mana's koa wood ceilings, walls, and floors are the original boards laid down by John Parker in 1845. In the gentle years of old age, Parker was fond of reminding those around him, "You're only here for a little while. Don't hurry too fast. Don't hurt anyone. And don't forget to stop and smell the flowers." He rests today in the family cemetery overlooking his Mana home site. It now came to John Parker II and Sam Parker to run the ranch. Sam loved the good life. A lavish spender, he was known for lighting his cigars with $5 bills. This royal decree signed by his friend King David Clarkoa made Sam a nobleman in the royal court. He surrounded himself with a world of social splendor. He made Waimea such an important part of Hawaii's social circuit that the town was renamed in his honor, Kamuela, the Hawaiian equivalent of Samuel. When 3-year-old Richard Palmer Smart became heir to the ranch, it had become unprofitable and was in a state of disrepair. Richard's grandmother, Elizabeth Dowsett, searched for someone to both look after young Richard's interests and restore the ranch's vitality. Alfred Wellington Carter, a well-respected Honolulu attorney, took on the job with great energy and purpose. Spending time, money, and sweat, he reinvigorated the rundown ranch operations. A kind and generous man, Carter felt a deep responsibility to the community he lived in. A.W. Carter set a standard of community involvement and giving that lives on today. Richard Smart grew to become a man of many talents and interests. Among them was a keen appreciation of fine art. Displayed at Pu'opelo today are the results of his lifelong quest for things of great beauty. From the time he was a young man, Richard loved the theater. A graduate of the prestigious Pasadena Playhouse, he starred in many major theater and nightclub productions. He has seen the bright lights of Broadway and seen his land become the great ranch that it is today. At his passing, he left behind him a livestock enterprise more than 2/3 the size of the island of Oahu. A massive landholding, containing within its boundaries a wonderland of Hawaiian geographies. From the dry brushlands of Waikoloa to the cool streams of the Kohala Mountains, from warm lava rock beaches to the high slopes of Mauna Kea. The Parker Ranch today is a livestock enterprise covering over 330 square miles of rangelands, with 800 miles of fence lines, 276 paddocks, and 45 corrals. A modern, well-run cattle business, yet remaining today a place where the values and traditions of the early Hawaiian Paniolo's are still passed on. In the cool bite of first light, the Paniolo's ride off into a remote corner of the ranch. Hollering the same yells that have echoed across these plains for generations, they gather the cattle and drive them towards the corral. In a warm sun or cold rain, the job is the same. Hard work requiring toughness, strength, and stamina. But for these men, it is something more. It is working every day close to the land, using skill and teamwork to control hundreds of powerful and sometimes contrary animals. Here, hard work is a value, great difficulty a worthy challenge. Riding hard over this terrain takes skill and confidence. Sharp lava rubble lies scattered everywhere. A misstep or fall could cause serious injury. At a corral, the cattle are separated into groups. Small bunches from the corralled herd are moved towards an open gate. In a display of quick reflexes and precision teamwork, the gate man and his horse maneuver back and forth, allowing only the selected animals to pass. In a dialogue that has changed little in the past 150 years, Parker Paniolos count and identify the animals using Hawaiian words. Cows with ingrown horns are known as haukomo. Left untreated, the ingrown horns would become fatal to the cow. Safely restrained by a second lariat, the Paniolos can move in and painlessly remove the life-threatening horn tips. All new calves must be separated and counted. They must receive a series of shots and medicines, be neutered if male, and receive an identifying brand. Although these procedures are relatively painless, the ordeal of separation and handling does cause some stress for the youngsters. Quickness is essential. The unique roping and branding methods used by Parker Paniolos have one common goal: speed. Calves are head roped and allowed to walk through the lariat. When their hindquarters stand in the loop, it is drawn tight around their legs. Held fast by the taut lariat, the shots, medicines, ear tag, and brand are quickly given. In seconds, the calf is up and returned to the security of the herd. Using these unique methods, a crew of 30 Parker Paniolos can process and brand 1,200 calves in 4 hours. Throughout the year, work at the ranch ebbs and flows to rhythms echoing back to the Spanish Old West. Birthing in the winter, branding new calves in the spring, weaning in the summer, and through all seasons, the excitement of riding and roping Hawaiian style. Hey! There is always time to relax for a moment, time to talk with friends about work and the land, time to sit back and enjoy the spectacle of these wide open spaces. Today, cattle are routinely loaded at dockside for shipment to Oahu, the mainland, or Canada. The loading and unloading is a far cry from the laborious techniques of years gone by. In the old days, the long cattle drive to the coast did not end at the water's edge. Awash on the backs of swimming horses, the Paniyolos ushered the frightened livestock to waiting longboats. With horns tied fast to the sides of the small boats, they were then ferried to a larger cargo vessel anchored in deep water. Once alongside the ship, a belly strap hoisted the animal out of the water and onto the deck. The cattle raised today on the sweet grasslands of the Parker Ranch are much improved over the wild longhorns of long ago. Today, Angus, Brangus, and Polled Herefords are raised on the ranch. Crossbreeding controls the size of the cattle and also the animal's tolerance to certain tropical maladies. With no supplemental feeding, females will produce one new calf each year. These cattle represent some of the best beef stock pastured anywhere in the world. A successful cattle ranch must first be a successful grass farm. The Hawaiians call this uaki pu'upu'u, rain that raises the goose flesh. Shrouds of cool, misty rains, carried on the trade winds across the broad Waimea Plateau, bringing life to the land. Some rangelands are located on the dry downwind side of the island. Trough water for these near-desert areas must be piped in through the ranch's 350-mile-long water transport system. Lush tropical rainforests on the windward side of the ranch are a plentiful source of water. Water for this trough at Holoholoku comes from the Kohala Mountains 15 miles to the north. Well-trained horses are fundamental to the success of any ranching operation. Gone are the oversized spurs and brutal methods used to break horses in days gone by. Today, subtle use of pressure and reward instill trust in these untrained 2-year-olds. Mutual respect between rider and horse is the key to getting the most from these high-spirited and intelligent animals. Great care is taken to ensure that these colts will grow to enjoy the relationship they will have with their riders and give 100% of their ability to any task at hand. Using these humane training methods, it is possible to gather enough trust in an untrained 2-year-old to have it comfortably accept a saddle in under 1 hour. And then accept a rider in less than 2 hours. This great ranching operation with its hundreds of horses, thousands of cattle, and miles of rangelands requires the talents of many skilled ranch workers. Pipeline crews working to bring water where it is needed. Saddle makers repairing worn saddles and tack. Tree planters helping nature restore forests and provide windbreaks. Welders, truck drivers, and more. These workers, together with the businesses and services that have grown up around them, make the Parker Ranch the cultural and economic center of the High Plateau. Every year, the ranch family of employees, friends, and relatives gather for the Parker Ranch Rodeo and horse races.
Pushing his horse.
For the Paniyolos, it's a once-a-year opportunity to demonstrate their expert horsemanship
Red has done it and black has done it. Beautiful pass.
and show off their fastest horses.
Slightly ahead, but right alongside him.
Driving rain can't dampen the spirit of competition between these cowboys. It was Parker Ranch people who made this the great ranch that it is today. Generations of hard-working families bringing their best to bear for the ranch's success. Together, they have built something of great value. More than the success of the ranch business, they have built a way of life founded in the Hawaiian spirit of aloha. It was with this spirit of giving that Richard Smart lived out his life. At his passing, he left behind him a plan that will carry his legacy forward into the future. The Richard Smart Trust establishes that, for generations to come, this unique Paniolo way of life will be preserved. And the people and the community that have given so much will benefit directly from the ranch's continued success. The children are our hope and our future. Here, there will be a good future, where coming generations of young people will grow up happy and strong. And the Parker Ranch will be there, doing its share to provide jobs and community support so that these youngsters can become productive members of this wonderful community. In the spring, there will be more roundups and more colts to train. The work of the ranch will go on, changed little from days of yesteryear. Paniolos will ride out and get the job done. And here, in this land of open green plains and soaring clouds, a unique and valued way of life will live on.